Welcome to LifeUp Thoughts, where we seek solace in the divine presence. I'm Uday Kirkwood, and today, we embark on a profound journey. Have you ever wondered what happens when you stop worrying and trust in God? Before we delve into this life-changing topic, I want you to know that in this video, we're not just going to talk about faith, we're going to experience it. At the heart of this video, we will unite in a powerful prayer, allowing God's grace to fill our lives. Stay with us until the end, where we'll share a moment of deep connection and prayer, invoking the divine presence. So, keep your heart open as we explore how faith can transform your life. But first, let's set the stage for a transformation that transcends understanding. We'll share stories, quotes, and biblical wisdom that'll awaken your spirit. Are you ready to stop overthinking and allow God to guide your path? Stay tuned to find out. Imagine a weary traveler lost in a dense forest. He's been wandering for hours, feeling anxious, and trying to figure out his way, but it seems hopeless. The more he thinks, the more lost he becomes. He consults his map, but it offers no clarity. He walks in circles, getting more exhausted by the minute. The forest is so dense that he can barely see the sunlight through the thick canopy of trees. Then, in a moment of surrender, he decides to stop thinking and trust in something greater. He stands still, takes a deep breath, and closes his eyes. As he stands there, embracing the stillness, a gentle breeze rustles the leaves, and he feels a subtle sense of peace. He lets go of his fears and begins to trust that there is a guiding force greater than himself, and in that moment of trust, something remarkable happens. A soft light appears through the trees, leading him to safety. It's as if a path has been illuminated just for him. With each step, his faith deepens. Finally, he emerges from the forest into the warm embrace of sunlight, a smile on his face, and a heart full of gratitude. This story reminds us that when we stop overthinking and trust in something greater than ourselves, a path opens up, leading us to a better place. Now, let's explore how we can apply this in our lives. 1. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your understanding. Proverbs 3 verses 5 and 2. Cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you. 1 Peter 5 verse 7. The Bible is filled with wisdom about trust and faith. It tells us to surrender our worries and trust in God's plan. Now that we've seen the profound impact of trust and faith in the traveler's story, let's turn to the timeless wisdom of the Bible. These verses remind us that when we stop overthinking and surrender to God, miracles can happen. 1. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your understanding. Proverbs 3 verses 5 and 2. Cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you. 1 Peter 5 verse 7. These verses are like beacons of light guiding us towards faith and trust. They emphasize the importance of releasing our worries and letting God's divine plan unfold. Take a moment to reflect on these powerful words. How can they inspire you to let go, trust in God, and invite positivity into your life? We'll explore this further as we go on. Now, let's dive deeper into God's message for you. The traveler's story and the wisdom from the Bible all converge to deliver a powerful message. In the scriptures, we learn that faith has the power to move mountains. Think of the story of David and Goliath, where a young shepherd, armed only with faith, conquered a giant. It's a reminder that your faith can conquer the giants in your life. Just as David believed in his purpose and trusted in God, you too can achieve the seemingly impossible when you place your trust in the divine plan. Now, consider the symbolism of letting go. When we release our worries and anxieties, we make space for God's grace to fill our lives, just as these balloons rise into the sky. It's a profound lesson, to surrender, to trust, and to let go. Your worries need not weigh you down. God is ready to lift them away. Faith is like a healing balm for the soul. Just as this withered plant blooms when it receives the nourishment it needs, your life can flourish when you trust in God. These stories and biblical wisdom all lead to one powerful message: stop overthinking, trust in God, and witness the transformative power of faith. Stay with us as we continue to explore how faith can reshape your life. Remember, it's not just about words, it's about embracing a divine connection. So, let's keep going. One of the most compelling messages from the Bible is that faith has the power to move mountains. You might have heard the iconic story of David and Goliath. In this story, a young shepherd named David, armed with nothing but a slingshot and his unwavering faith, conquered a giant, Goliath, who was considered unbeatable. David's faith was his greatest weapon. It wasn't his size or his weaponry, but his absolute trust in God's plan that gave him the strength to face his giant. Just as David believed in his purpose and trusted in God, you too can conquer the giants in your life when you place your trust in the divine. The giants in our lives can take various forms: financial difficulties, health issues, stress, or fear of the unknown. These challenges might seem insurmountable, but remember, just as David's faith moved mountains, your faith can overcome these obstacles. Your faith isn't just a passive belief, it's a source of inner strength and resilience. It empowers you to face life's challenges with courage and hope. By trusting in God's plan and believing that you have the strength to prevail, you'll discover that even the seemingly impossible becomes achievable. So, I want to empower you today. Think about the mountains in your life, those hurdles that seem too high to climb. Remember, just as David stood before Goliath, you too can stand before your challenges with unwavering faith. Take a moment to reflect on your own life. How can you apply the lesson from David and Goliath to your challenges? How can faith become your slingshot, propelling you toward victory? We'll explore more profound lessons on faith as we go on. Another vital lesson we can learn from faith is the art of letting go. Imagine holding onto a bunch of balloons. These balloons represent our worries and anxieties. The more we clutch them, the heavier they become. And the harder it is to rise above them. But when we choose to release our grip and let these balloons drift away, something incredible happens. We create space in our hearts and minds for God's grace to enter. It's like surrendering our worries and allowing the divine to take over. Letting go isn't a sign of weakness, it's an act of courage. It's about freeing yourself from the burdens that weigh you down. When you release your worries and trust in God, you feel lighter, liberated, and ready to embrace the positivity and peace that faith brings. By letting go, you make room for serenity in God's love to fill your life. It's a powerful step towards inner peace and contentment. Now, let's relate this to your life. Think about the worries that often consume your thoughts, be it financial concerns, health issues, or personal problems. How might letting go of these worries and entrusting them to God make a difference in your life? The act of letting go is an ongoing process, a daily practice of trust. As we move forward in this video, remember that faith can transform your life when you choose to unburden your heart and place your trust in God. Stay with us as we explore more profound lessons of faith, and how you can apply these teachings to your life. Let's continue on this inspiring journey. Now, I invite you to join me in a 30-second prayer. This is a moment of connection, a time to center our hearts and minds, and to truly entrust our worries and hopes to the divine. Wherever you are, I encourage you to find a quiet space. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and let go of the burdens you may be carrying. Surrender them to God, as we take this brief but profound moment to connect with the divine. In this stillness, embrace the power of trust. Trust that God is with you, guiding you, and supporting you on your journey. Let this prayer be a reminder that you are not alone. You are loved, and you are supported. Take a few more deep breaths, feeling the peace and love that surrounds you. Amen. Thank you for sharing this sacred moment with us. Remember, you can return to this prayer whenever you need to reconnect with your faith and trust in God. Once upon a time, in a quiet little town nestled among rolling hills, there lived a man named Samuel. He was known far and wide for his analytical mind and his tendency to overthink every aspect of life. Samuel's house stood on Maple Street, a peaceful avenue with trees lining both sides, offering a canopy of green leaves and chirping birds. Samuel was a middle-aged man, with a well-kept beard and a suit that he wore even on weekends. He had a good job, a loving family, and everything one might desire. However, he had a persistent issue: he couldn't stop thinking. His mind was a whirlwind of doubts, worries, and questions. He'd lie awake at night, pondering the future, the past, and the present. It was as if his mind was constantly in a state of analysis, trying to solve problems that didn't even exist. One sunny Sunday morning, Samuel's wife, Sarah, and their two children, Emily and Ethan, gathered in the cozy living room. Samuel, as usual, was lost in thought about work, bills, and responsibilities. The room was filled with silence, a silence that was growing louder each day. Sarah, seeing the burden in her husband's eyes, decided it was time for a change. She gently took his hand and said, "Samuel, it's time for us to have a family day, a day of faith and trust. We've been blessed in so many ways, and it's time to stop overthinking and let go of our worries." Samuel looked at his family, seeing the concern in their eyes, and he knew they were right. He nodded in agreement, and the family decided to go on a spontaneous trip. They packed a picnic and headed for the nearby hills, a place that had always brought them joy. As they sat on a grassy knoll overlooking a valley, Samuel couldn't help but feel the tension of his racing thoughts. He looked out at the vast landscape, the rolling hills, and the clear blue sky, and for a moment, he let go. He closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and released the weight of his worries. It was at this very moment that an unexpected visitor appeared. A gentle old man with a long, white beard approached the family. He introduced himself as Mr. Abbott, a retired pastor who often wandered the hills. "Good morning," he greeted them warmly. "I couldn't help but notice your beautiful family and the serene atmosphere here. May I join you for a moment?" The family welcomed Mr. Abbott, and as they started to chat, they learned that he had dedicated his life to faith and had countless stories of miracles and moments of surrender to share. As the hours passed, Mr. Abbott shared tales of people who had faced insurmountable odds but, through faith and trust, had experienced miraculous turnarounds. He talked about letting go, believing in the divine plan, and the power of surrendering one's troubles to God. The stories were captivating, but it was the old man's words that resonated most with Samuel. Mr. Abbott said, "You see, my dear friends, sometimes the answers we seek are not found in our minds, but in our hearts. When we stop overthinking and trust in something greater than ourselves, life unfolds in mysterious and beautiful ways." As the sun began to set, the family felt a profound sense of peace. They thanked Mr. Abbott for his wisdom and his unexpected visit. As they walked back to their car, Samuel realized that he had not thought about work or bills or responsibilities during the entire day. That night, as Samuel lay in bed, he couldn't help but think about the stories Mr. Abbott had shared. He pondered the idea of letting go, of surrendering his worries to a higher power. Could it be that simple? In the following weeks, Samuel began a journey of faith and trust. He started by attending a local church, where he listened to sermons about surrender, faith, and letting go. He read the Bible and found solace in the verses that spoke of trusting in the Lord with all your heart. His family noticed the change in him. He smiled more, worried less, and became a more present father and husband. The overthinking gradually gave way to a sense of peace and trust. Samuel had discovered the power of letting go. One day, while at work, Samuel received news that the company he worked for was facing financial troubles. In the past, this would have triggered an avalanche of anxious thoughts. But now, he took a deep breath and surrendered the situation to God. He decided to do his best and trust that things would work out as they should. In the weeks that followed, an unexpected turn of events occurred. Samuel's company managed to secure a new contract, and the financial crisis was averted. Samuel saw this as a confirmation of the newfound faith and trust that he had embraced. As time went on, the entire Maple Street community began to notice the change in Samuel. His transformed demeanor inspired others to reevaluate their own worries and overthinking habits. The street became a place of newfound peace, where people let go of their burdens and began to trust in something greater. Years passed, and Samuel and his family continued to live a life filled with faith and trust. They understood that surrendering their worries to God didn't mean that life would be without challenges, but that they could face those challenges with strength and hope. One day, Samuel sat down to write a letter to Mr. Abbott, the retired pastor who had appeared on that fateful family day on the hills. He wanted to express his deep gratitude for the wisdom that had transformed his life. In the letter, he wrote, "Dear Mr. Abbott, your visit was a turning point in our lives. You taught us to stop thinking and start trusting. Through faith, we have found the peace we were searching for. Thank you for being our guiding light." Samuel's story had become a source of inspiration for his community. A testament to the profound change that could occur when one stopped overthinking and placed trust in something greater. It was a reminder that miracles could happen, not because life became perfect, but because they chose to trust in the perfection of the divine plan. And so, on Maple Street, under the canopy of trees and the song of birds, the message of faith and trust continued to spread, proving that sometimes, letting go of worries could indeed move mountains in the hearts of those who believed. As we reach the end of our journey today, remember this: the power of faith and trust in God is a guiding light in the darkest of times. The stories, the wisdom, and the messages we've explored all point to one simple truth: when you stop overthinking and start trusting, miracles happen. Stop thinking, start trusting, faith can move mountains. Let go of worries, surrender to the divine. Let these key takeaways resonate in your heart. Stop thinking, start trusting, have faith, for it can move mountains. Let go of worries, and surrender to the divine. And now, as we conclude, I invite you to join me in a moment of profound connection. Let's pray together, seeking the guidance, love, and blessings that God offers. Thank you for being part of this journey today. If this video has touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to LifeUp Thoughts. And always remember, stop thinking, start trusting, and let God guide your way.